Hey y'all, happy Friday. Welcome to From Unmothered to Empowered. I am excited to be here. Friday came quick this weekend. I'm glad about it. All right, so have a topic for you today. And so I'm ready to get started. And so today we're talking about imposter syndrome and being unmothered. And what's the connection? What's the link between the two? And so I posted about imposter syndrome before, and I know that I did like an in-depth post on LinkedIn, but I wanted to bring it to you guys because it's a part of my renewal series. And I think that the more we talk about the things that are on our mind, the things that are that we're worried about, the things that make us anxious, the better that we will be. And so if you're new here to my page, welcome. My name is onjeinikab. I'm also known as the unmothered coach in these social media streets. And I help women who've had difficult relationships with their mothers overcome emotional trauma from those relationships, elevate their self-confidence, and achieve their goals. So I am all about transformation, and I, had to experience some things myself. And so I'm also the author of a book, and it's called Unmothered, A Daughter's Guide to Acceptance, Healing, and Renewal. And I always forget to grab it. Here's the book. You may have seen it on the page if you've been here before, but if you're new here, the book is called Unmothered, and it is for daughters with that have had difficult relationships with their mothers, and it has what I call the 9 steps to healing within the book. And so I wrote that book to help people, and that is the reason that I'm coaching. So today we're going to get into imposter syndrome. So first of all, what is imposter syndrome? You hear it a lot, and I know the first time I heard it, it had to do with work, and I didn't really understand what it meant. So I'm just going to read the definition for you, and then I'll move into like what I have for you. So imposter syndrome is the persistent inability to believe in one's success and to believe that it is deserved and that it has been legitimately achieved. And as a result, it can cause anxiety. And so when you don't believe in yourself. So imposter syndrome can look a lot of different ways. Like you can feel like you're unqualified for the position that you're in. You can feel like, you didn't get it fair and square. And it's basically just like if you were to be wearing a costume, or if you were to meet somebody wearing a costume and they're not the person that they're pretending to be. And so people with imposter syndrome sometimes live in fear that they're going to be exposed. They're going to be discovered for who they really are. People are going to find out that they're not qualified, that they don't deserve what they have, or they don't deserve to be in a position. And so a lot of times that does have to do with the career, but it can also show up in motherhood. Like you as a mother, if you have children, you as a friend, in any capacity, it can show up and make you feel less than, and like, you're incapable of carrying out the task. At least that's how it showed up for me. And so the first time I went through imposter syndrome, I was really surprised because I didn't fancy myself as someone that might, feel like that. I thought I was pretty much good. But then I got basically a promotion. It wasn't a promotion on the same job. I went to a different job and I was promoted. And so I had people under me. And when that happened, it caused basically an identity crisis for me. So I just didn't know what was going on. Whereas I had been before very strong in, my skills and understanding my background, I went to like, I can't do this. And so I talked to my therapist about it, and we basically broke it down. And I'm just going to give you some of what I learned, like going through imposter syndrome and then actually coming out on the other side, and how, I have some tips for you to like how it can help you if this is something that you struggle with. But the connection to being unmothered and imposter syndrome, that is what I really want to put a pin in. Because when you're unmothered and you don't have an attuned, attentive, mother that is supportive and loving, and even if she does love you, she's not showing it. When you don't have that, it can play out in many ways in your life, and you won't even recognize it. It can subconsciously come out, and sometimes it just means, like you don't have that confidence built in you. And that's a whole different topic, but it can show up as imposter syndrome sometimes. And so being unmothered isn't necessarily the cause of imposter syndrome. And I'm not trying to blame your relationship with your mother on everything, like that's the cause for all that you're going through. But there are some costs to being unmothered. There are some costs to when your parents don't show up like they should in your life, when they don't do their job. So whether we admit it or not, there are some costs to that, because children are developing. And so when you don't have that foundation, sometimes it is hard to believe in yourself. Sometimes, you do get ready to level up, and that's usually when imposter syndrome shows up. You're ready to level up, and all of a sudden the fear grips you and you feel like you can't move forward. And like I said, it can happen in motherhood. And I remember being there too. Now, that was many years ago. My youngest is 17, my oldest is 20, and I have a 19-year-old in the middle. But years ago, when I was pregnant with my first child, it hit me. And I was just like, what are you doing? What have you done? You know that you can't do this. You know that you can't be nobody's mama. And it just happens. And so when these times occur, you have to deal with it. The only way forward is through. All right? The only way forward is through. So I'm here to assist you. So sometimes it starts very early and you don't realize it. And it's that self-confidence. It's that worry when you're doing something new. And sometimes it hits you all of a sudden, like it did with me. Like, I thought I was okay, and then these things start coming out of the woodwork. But no matter when it happens to you, it's important to take note, and it's important to get yourself through it. So let's talk about some ways that we can move through imposter syndrome. And I have about 6 tips for you that I hope will help you. And these are things that I've done, and I did defeat imposter syndrome when I got to that new job. And it ended up, things went so well. But I did need some help to get through there. And so that's why I want to talk about it. Because I want you to be able to renew your mindset and feel like you can accomplish things even if you didn't think you could do them in the past. I want to empower you to be able to try new things and to do hard things so that you can prove to yourself that you are worthy. And so let's get into it. So number 1, if you're going to beat imposter syndrome, the first thing you need to do is admit your fears. If you're scared, say you're scared. Just say it, because it's not going to go away if you pretend like there's nothing going on. In fact, it can make it worse if you try to cover it up or, suppress it. So deal with your emotions. Allow yourself to address the fear. If you're afraid of whatever that next level is, of whatever that thing is, of whatever your friend is, leaning on you and wanting you to do for them, whatever it is, just admit the fear. And if you need to do that in therapy like I did, I went running to my therapist. And the minute she asked me how the new job was going, I crumbled. And I just spilled all and let her help me with it. So say that you are afraid, because trying to conceal it and lying to yourself is going to add pressure. It's going to add to the anxiety. Okay? So don't panic. Just admit it. And then get ready to take some action. All right, so the next step is to get some affirmation from other people. If you don't have it in yourself yet and you're like, okay, I can't do this. I don't know why I'm feeling like this. They're going to find out I can't do it. Calm down and let some others pour into you. Now, you have to have the right circle around you in order to do that, right? And like I said, I was straight up in a therapy session. And I allowed my therapist to talk to me. And I listened. And I believed, because I needed to hear it. And it's okay that you're going to be vulnerable in that moment. It's okay that, it's going to feel like I should know better or whatever it is. But allow someone else to pour into you if you have that available. And if you don't, then begin immediately to put some affirmations together for yourself. Some positive talk, some self-love. Telling yourself, all right, I'm afraid, but I can do this. I may not have... I haven't grown up with the confidence with someone always in my corner. My mama didn't support me. But despite that, I can still do this. This is something new to me. But despite that, I am going to try. And it's okay. Because I think the main thing is that we're so fearful of the failure. We're thinking we're going to fall flat on our faces and people are going to laugh. But let me tell you something. You literally learn so much from failure. I know that it's scary, but you can't keep yourself from it. We all fail in different ways and at different times. But it's only failing that, that teaches you those ultimate lessons. Like, people can tell you how things are going to be, and people can kind of prepare you and talk to you, but it's life experience that really is the teacher. And so I know failure is scary and nobody likes it, but sometimes it's going to happen. Okay? And so even if you fall, you fail, get back up. Get back up, as nobody says that it's over. So I think we have to deal with that. All right, so affirm yourself and let yourself know. Get affirmation from other people. The third thing I want you to do is analyze your shortcomings. Sometimes when we are afraid of something, or we feel like we're going to be found out, or we weren't supposed to be in that job, we don't know how we got there, or we don't know, what happened, how the business is booming like this, and we don't know if we can handle it. Analyze the shortcomings and get help. If there's a course you need to take, a class you need to take, if you need to, get a business coach, if it's your business that's booming and you don't know how you got there, if you need to be in a mother's group where you can be in community and lean on other people or hear from other people, get the help. So when you analyze your shortcomings, it's not because you are expecting yourself to be perfect. It's because you're saying, I want to be better. And so if there is any area that you want to shore up, if there is anything that you want to work on, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. And so it's good to do the work. And sometimes I think we don't want to do the work, and that's scary too. But analyzing your shortcomings will help you get right to work. All right. Now the fourth thing is to examine your experience. And there's a therapist I follow here. I think her Instagram handle is Talk All About It, Cynthia. I don't want to mess up your last name, so I'm not saying it. Cynthia A. And she mentioned this when she talked about imposter syndrome many months ago. And she said, examine your experience. And I love that so much. I find it to be true. That sometimes you have to sit back and say, okay, now I have a degree in what? Or I've been doing what for X number of years? Or I've seen what? You have to kind of remind yourself, even put it on paper, like what are the things that qualify you for that thing that you're afraid of? And then sometimes it is brand new and you might not have the qualifications, but then you got to think about what kind of soft skills you have that can help drive you. Do you typically, move yourself forward when you're faced with a challenge? And is it just this time this thing is so big and scary that you don't know what to do? So draw on that experience. Look at where you've come from and allow that to show you in writing or, however you want to do it. Allow that to show you that you are capable of success. Because sometimes we just need to see it. We're not good at managing everything and holding it all up in our heads. Sometimes you need to write it out, parse it out so you can see it and that you can understand. And in the therapy session, my therapist did tell me, she's like, wait a minute. Now you've done this, you've done X, you've done Y, you've done Z. Why are you sitting here tripping like you can't handle this? You got this. So you gotta remind yourself and put it down on paper. You have experience doing lots of things, and even the new things, your experience as a person, like who you are, will come through. But you got to push yourself. All right. And the fifth thing you want to do to beat imposter syndrome is to resist the urge to back down. So this just goes hand in hand with number 4, where you're examining your experience. Understand it is a challenge, and understand that sometimes it is going to be frightening and scary, but don't back down. Don't back down. You have to keep coming, because what's the best thing that can happen? That's how you need to look at it. Like, what's the best thing that can happen? Instead of saying, oh my goodness, what if I'm not perfect? Just say, what's the best thing that can happen if I continue to move? What is the best thing that can happen if I don't give up? What can I foresee occurring if I keep pushing, if I keep going? Maybe growth. Maybe you're going to grow in the role, in the position. I know I changed as a mother, for sure. I know I didn't know all the stuff. And those little kids challenge you to go deep. They test your patience, but they also challenge you to go deep. And so I can certainly say as a mother that I have grown, I have changed. And so don't give up. Because running and hiding and not having the experience it's going to keep you where you are. And it's easy to do that. It's easy to say, okay, I'm just gonna stay in a comfortable space. But if you stay in the comfort zone, you won't grow and you won't level up. And there are things out here that you need to do. There are things that are for you. There are things that is your birthright and it has your name on it. But you can't run away and get it. So we're gonna beat imposter syndrome today. We ain't got no time for that. All right? And so the last thing I would tell you is if you want to beat imposter syndrome, you have to get out of your own way. Stop overthinking it and just take action. So stop thinking about and being in your head and, oh, I'm afraid, and oh, what if this, and oh, what if that, and just take the next step. Just take the next step and just put one foot in front of the other. Because sometimes it's that action that brings confidence. Sometimes it's those small itty bitty wins that will propel you forward. And so you have to just put one foot in front of the other and walk by faith and not by sight. Okay? You got to have faith and put your faith over the fear. You got to be able to do that and move through. Yes, you're going to struggle sometimes. No, it's not going to always be perfect and work out. I wish I could tell you that everything is going to be smooth sailing once you put your mind to something, even if you push through the anxiety and the fear. No, it's not. And would you want it to all be perfect? What kind of life is that with no challenges? Then what are you really made of? But you're going to find out when you apply yourself. And it's going to prepare you for the next thing. And even if it doesn't prepare you to continue going higher, guess what? It'll help you help somebody else because they're watching your example. And certainly if you have children and friends, anyone. So do it for yourself, yes, because imposter syndrome is something that is personal to you. That's what it's about, is how you're feeling in your head and how you feel about yourself and the security that you have in yourself, in the things that you've done, and in what you're going to do. So it is a very personal thing, but you can take that thing and flip it and use it to bless somebody else. You can show yourself what you can do, but you can also use it to encourage and to just help shine a light for someone else. All right? So that is my talk for you guys today. Imposter syndrome and being unmothered. Not a lovely place to be, but we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And don't forget about mindset. Mindset is powerful when it comes to transformation, when it comes to getting you through from one point to another. Put your mind to it and don't overthink it. Just walk it out. All right? Easy to say, but you have to continue encouraging yourself. So the 6 things I said to help you through imposter syndrome, let's run them back. 1 is to admit your fears. If you're scared, say that you're scared. It's all right. Let the emotions out. Let them be free. Don't try to suppress it and pretend, because it's only going to make the anxiety worse. Number 2 is to get affirmation from other people, and then to also affirm yourself, because you need to borrow those affirmations from them so that you can, strengthen yourself and strengthen your mind to believe that you can do it and to believe that you are where you're meant to be. And number 3 is to analyze your shortcomings and see if there's a place to do some work. See if there are some things, some skills that you can attain that'll help you to do even better. That'll help you feel more secure and more prepared. Then number 4 is to examine your experience. And by that I mean your past experience. I mean what you've done, what you've been through, your the jobs you've had before, your education, things like that. Examine what you've come through so that you have what it takes to continue on. Number 5 is resist the urge to back down. No matter what it looks like, understand that if you stay at the level that you are, that there's no growth there. That if you stay there being afraid and stay in your comfort zone, that things don't move forward. So resist the urge to back down and just keep coming. Even in fear, do it scared. Do it anyway. And then number 6 is to get out of your own way. Get out of your head. Stop thinking about stuff and start taking action. Because when you start taking action, it can increase your confidence greatly. Because you've proven to yourself, hey, I just did this. And even if it's a teeny tiny little small win, take it. It's still a win. Even if it's the tiniest step forward, take it. Okay? And use it to encourage yourself. All right? So those are the tips. That's what I have on imposter syndrome. If you have questions or you want to talk about it more, please leave me some below. Comment below. Add to this. I don't know everything. And there's different perspectives to come at this from. But don't let being unmothered allow imposter syndrome just to reign free in your life, just to roam around and just to wreak havoc. Don't let your upbringing and your foundation, not being stable and not being what, ideal. Don't allow that to let these kinds of things get in your head and fester. I'm all about the transformation, and it does take mindset, but you also have to call out the problems, all right? So don't let being unmothered stop you in this way, all right? There's so many other parts of renewal that we can talk about. I have a long list I've been working on, but this is one of the ones I really was hoping would help somebody. So there it is, and want to remind you that I am doing a workshop next week. Sign up for the workshop. It is free. And I'm talking about 3 keys to overcoming mother-daughter relationship trauma. So same stuff I always cover, but I'm just going to break it down, and I'm going to be meeting like on Google Meet, meeting in a small setting so that we can get intimate, we can share, we can work through prompts and worksheets and actually start doing the healing work. So that's the purpose of the workshop. It's going to be 3 days. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's next week, starting on April 9th. So April 9th, 10th, and 11th. I will be doing the workshop. I'm excited. It also has a private Facebook group that goes with it so that you can get the replays and I can continue to nurture you and hear from you there. Because I do think community is powerful. And so sometimes you got to just step out of the limelight and get, in a warm, comfortable space so that you can grow and you can heal. So that's what that's all about. That's what I have for you. The digital course is open. That is starting in the middle of April. So if you want to sign up, it's a 6-week course. So you can check out the link in my bio for all the details, the workshop, to the course. And also if you want one-on-one coaching, still here for you for that. So it feels like a busy Friday after saying all that, but you guys can get at me on any of my social media pages. I love hearing from you, love helping you, and just looking forward to what's to come. So guys, have a good weekend, and I will see y'all next week.